To all and welcome to the session, the Hindu Editorial Analysis for Proficiency in English. Today's editorial is all about arrest of the Delhi CM Kejriwal and still being in the prison, whether it can be justified or not, against the backdrop of general elections. And today also a lot of words are there to learn. It may take a lot of time. When it comes to vocabulary, you can expect a lot of enrichment. Let us start with the question. From this session, what are you going to learn? Or what is the enrichment? You will improve your comprehension skill. You will improve your vocabulary. As I said, a lot of words are there. You will consolidate your grammar knowledge. You will improve your effective English, idioms and phrases. And also you're going to work on mini mocks. Good morning. Let us start with the question. What is this editorial about? What is this editorial about? This editorial discusses the ongoing incarceration. I'm going to provide the meaning and the synonyms, antonyms. Incarceration means imprisonment. Incarceration of Delhi Chief Minister Arvind Kejriwal amidst a general election. This is an important word. You have to recollect two words. One is this one. The other one, midst. Both mean the same. What is the meaning in the middle of? In this context, in the middle of general elections. And what is the tone of the editorial? The tone of the editorial is critical on the one hand and questioning the arrest and questioning still being in the prison. Broadly two dimensions, both are negative dimensions. Let us see. We'll have a look at the words at the outset. Today also a lot of words and there's so much enrichment that is going to happen. The very first word, incarceration, part of speech noun. The act of putting someone in prison or in another institution where they are deprived of their freedom. But generally it goes with putting someone in prison. What are the synonyms? Imprisonment, confinement, whatever, if I put a star mark, they are important from the exam point of view. Detention, custody, imprisonment repeated. But here when you look at the word detention, you have, excuse me, you have to recollect the verb form. Detain is a verb form, detention the noun form, an important word. Other words are rather easy. Antonyms, freedom, release, liberation. Example, after being found guilty of the crime, he faced a lengthy period of incarceration. Means what? A lengthy period of imprisonment. But here there is one word, guilty. Whenever we talk about crime, we have to know the basic words. One, innocent, that means not committed the crime, then the person is acquitted. Opposite, guilty, person who has committed crime, then the court will convict that person. What are the four words here? Innocent has two meanings. One goes with everyday English, the other goes with legal term. One who has not committed crime, innocent, then the court acquits that person, frees that person. On the other hand, guilty, everyday English meaning to feel bad about something. But here a legal term, one who has committed crime, then the person is convicted. Based on the conviction, he may go to the prison, imprisonment. Let us go to the second word, prosecute, part of speech verb. Prosecution, noun form. To institute legal proceedings against someone, typically in a court of law, obviously, in order to bring a criminal charge against them. You initiate a legal proceeding against someone based on the allegation, based on the accusation. The whole process is called prosecution. Prosecution, noun form, prosecute, verb form. What are the synonyms? Sue, an important word. And this you got to be careful when it comes to pronunciation. Indict, not indict, indict, indictment. Indictment means officially criticizing someone of doing something wrong. Charge, simple word. Bring to trial, important expression. Take legal action against, important and easy also. Antonyms: defend, exonerate, acquit. This is an important word. I have already given the word acquit. Exonerate means stop blaming someone. Initially, we blame someone. After some time, we stop blaming that person. Then we say he has been exonerated, an important word. Example: the district attorney decided to prosecute the suspect for embezzlement, an important word, due to the overwhelming, means a lot, evidence against him. Based on the word embezzlement, I would like to give a few words. First, embezzle, part of speech verb, embezzlement noun. Another word, swindle. These two are synonyms. And there's one important idiom, feather one's own nest. It has been given many a time. Feather one's own nest. Embezzle, swindle, feather one's own nest, they all mean the same. What do they mean? Imagine there's an employee. The employee takes the organization's money illegally. Then we say he has embezzled the money. He has swindled the money. He has feathered his own nest. All are very important. And here, all these words already have put a put star marks. Exonerate, important word. Look at the example. The district attorney decided to prosecute the suspect. Why? On what ground? Embezzlement due to the overwhelming evidence against him. Even these examples you have to focus on. There's so much to learn. Regime we have got many a time. What part of speech is it? Noun. What does it mean? A government, especially an authoritarian one, need not be all the time authoritarian, adding something, but a government, the government in power, incumbent government. Synonyms: government, administration, ruling body, authority. Antonyms based on that word authoritarian: democracy, liberty, freedom. The new regime promised a sweeping changes. This is an important expression you have to know. Sweeping changes means changes on a large scale. Broadly speaking, on a large scale, sweeping changes. But many remained skeptical of their intentions. There's one word here, skeptical. Skeptic, noun form. Person who doubts. Skeptic means a person who doubts something or everything. Here you have to recollect another word. Students usually get confused. Cynical. Cynical has a different connotation altogether. Cynical means what? Pessimistic. There are two words over here. One is skeptical. Skeptic means doubting someone. He is a skeptic means always doubt someone or something. That is okay, doubtful. But some people always have a negative attitude. They think negatively. Then we use the word cynical or pessimistic. Both are entirely different. Adversary, another important word, part of speech, noun. Adversaries are opponents or enemies in a conflict, contest, or struggle. In this context, in the field of politics, opponents, adversaries. What are the synonyms? Opponents, antagonists, an important word. Generally, we talk about a person, his or her circle. We use two words. One, his friends. Second, his foes. Foes means enemies, friends and foes, enemies. And there's one important word here. Three words you have to know: antagonistic, hostile, enmity. They all mean the same. Important vocabulary. Against someone. Enmity, hostile nature, hostile behavior, and antagonistic attitude. Very important, this one, and also foes. Antonyms, allies, friends, supporters, comrades. Comrades goes more with Communist Party. You can use friends also. Example, despite. The moment you see despite, you have to recollect the common error. Despite of, wrong. Despite does not take the preposition of. Despite being adversaries in court, outside of work, they maintained a respectful relationship. Here, respectful, we can also say healthy relationship. Outside the court, healthy relationship, but in the court, antagonistic attitude. What is the next word? Kickbacks. If you read the newspaper quite often, regularly, you may come across the word kickbacks. Part of speech noun. Kickbacks are illicit. Illicit, you have to recollect the word illegal. Illicit payments made to someone, often in return for a favor or preferential treatment. It goes with, imagine there's a government officer, you want some favor as a contractor, you pay some amount and you get the contract in your favor. Then we say you have given the bribe. We can also use kickbacks, but we have good synonyms in the sense bribery, a simple word. You have to know the word graft, important, payoff, important, backhander, important, under the table payment, grease the palm, familiar ones. But these words you have to remember. Graft especially. Effective English, we use the word graft. Everyday English, bribe. What are the antonyms? Transparency, integrity, honesty. The other day we got the words honesty. Above board, one important idiom. Transparent, man of integrity, values, ethics. All these you have to recollect. Example, the company executive was arrested for accepting kickbacks from contractors in exchange for awarding them lucrative contracts. There's one important word here, lucrative. Lucrative means a profitable. It goes with business usually. Lucrative business means what? Profitable business. Lucrative contract, profitable contract. Important word. Let us go to the next one. Vitiating. I think we have got for the first time vitiating, an important word. Vitiate verb. ing form vitiating. Vitiating refers to the process of spoiling. That is the main word here, or impairing. Impair we got the other day. Damage, spoil. Impairing something's quality, effectiveness, or validity. Synonyms, spoiling, contaminating. Contaminating goes more with pollution. Impairing, ruining, compromising. Compromising has many meanings. Compromising position, that has a different meaning altogether. I cannot explain here. But coming to the word ruin. Ruin as a verb, we all know spoil. But when you use a word as a noun, you have to use in the plural form. Ruins means the remains of a monument. When you visit a historical place, you don't see the entire monument, you see parts of it. For those parts, remaining parts of a monument, we use the word ruins, a different meaning altogether. Deteriorate also you can think of. Very good. If you keep adding, I appreciate that. Adverse, we have got many a time, part of speech adjective. Adverse describes something harmful or unfavorable, working against one's interests or goals. Unfavorable, detrimental, hostile I have already given, negative, damaging, impairing. I gave the word many a time adverse means negative. I gave the combination adverse report, negative report, unfavorable report. But there's one word here, detrimental. Detrimental goes with something like harmful. Detrimental effect means what? Harmful effect. Deteriorate, that also a good word, I appreciate. Antonyms: favorable, advantageous, beneficial, positive. Look at the example. Generally, I give the example adverse report. Here we have a new combination. Adverse weather conditions force the cancellation of the outdoor event. Always try to catch the combinations. What is the reason? English is a combinational language, and in the exam, this knowledge will help when it comes to exam topics like close test, fillers. This knowledge will help. Adverse weather conditions, adverse climatic conditions, very good. Public demands. Implications, part of speech noun, obviously. Implication, singular implications. Implications are the potential consequences or effects of a decision, action, or situation. You take a decision, you do something, the impact, negative impact of that, we say consequences, implications. Implications, a better word. Synonyms: consequences, ramifications, an important word, repercussions, an important word. Effect simple, outcome simple. I have been bringing a lot of synonyms and antonyms. I would like to reiterate. When I bring based on a particular word, synonyms, antonyms, do remember some of these are easy, some of these are difficult. Whatever difficult or go with effective English, important from the exam point of view, I put a star mark, and those you have to learn and remember at any cost. Ramifications, important. Consequences, everyone knows. Ramifications. Repercussions, another effective word. What are the antonyms? Causes, origins, reasons. Look at the example. The implications of the new policy on the economy are yet to be fully understood. This is in passive voice. Yet to understand. Yet to understand what is opposite, yet to be understood. What is passive voice? Yet to be understood. You have to catch grammar aspects also. The next word, over, that is the last one. What is the last one? I think I've skipped a few. No. Oh, so many words are there. Implications. After that, the next word, liability. Liability goes with everyday English. It also goes with legal background. Meaning refers to legal responsibility for one's actions or debts. Liable to do something, liable to pay the amount. Obligation, simple word, responsibility, accountability, burden, culpability, an important word. Everyday English we use the word burden. Imagine someone depends on you. Then initially, no, I got it. Continuation. Mahidar, nothing to worry. Here, I feed someone. For some time it's okay, but he tries to depend on me, and at some point I feel I can't afford to feed that person. Then I say he has become a liability. That means he has become a burden. That is one meaning, goes with everyday English. But culpability goes with crime. When it comes to crime, we use the expression like culpable offense. Culpable offense means worthy of blaming. Look at the example, antonyms: asset, advantage, benefit, immunity. But one important word, asset usually goes with assets, asset, immovable property. What are your assets? Usually it goes with immovable property. But sometimes what happens, a company, there's a person, there's an employee he contributes a lot to the company. Then we say he's an asset to the company. He is an asset or she is an asset to the organization. Means valuable employee. The company faced a financial ruin due to its liability for environmental damages caused by its operations. The next word, piecemeal. It's an adjective. We use the word approach. Piecemeal approach means bit by bit, small amounts at a time, not a holistic approach. Piecemeal describes something done or occurring in small incremental steps or stages. What are the synonyms? Gradual, incremental, as I said, bit by bit, step by step, partial. Look at the example, you understand. Antonyms: whole, complete, all at once, comprehensive. We got the word comprehensive, if you remember. Comprehensive, exhaustive, and also holistic. The renovation project proceeded piecemeal, with each room being worked on separately. Someone wanted to get the house renovated. There are two approaches: entire house renovation one time, that is a holistic approach, comprehensive approach, or one room at a time, that is known as piecemeal approach. Denial. This comes from the verb deny. Deny means to say no, one meaning; to refuse an offer, another meaning. Denial is a refusal to accept or acknowledge something that is true or factual. Synonyms: rejection, refusal, repudiation, an important word; negation, an important word; disbelief, simple. What are the antonyms? Acceptance, acknowledgement, admission, affirmation. Despite overwhelming evidence, he remained in a state of denial about his addiction problems. There's a lot of evidence to prove that he has become an addict. In spite of that evidence, he has denied being an addict. That is the meaning of the sentence. Tenable. Tenable goes with theory, argument. You present a theory, you present an argument that can be substantiated, that can be justified. Then tenable, stand, tenable argument. Part of speech, adjective. Tenable means capable of being defended or justified, especially in an argument or debate. Synonyms: defensible, reasonable. I use this quite often. Justifiable, plausible, important word. These two words you have to remember. Sustainable goes with a different context. You all know sustainable goals, that is a different thing. Antonyms: unreasonable, indefensible, untenable, unsustainable. Look at the example, you understand. His theory is not tenable in the light of the new evidence that has emerged. Someone's theory is not tenable means what? It cannot be defended, it cannot be justified. Why? New evidence has emerged. Subversion, the last word for today from today's editorial. An important word goes with polity, part of speech, noun. Subversion refers to the act of undermining. An important word we have got many a time. Plausible, something that depends on a particular theory and seems to be right, may not be right. Possible is different, plausible is different. Undermining, weakening someone or something. Undermining or destabilizing something, typically an established system, authority. In this context, destabilizing the government. Undermining, already we have got many a time, but this word is an important word: sabotage. Destabilization, simple word. Treachery, also an important word. Rebellion, important word. Someone tries to topple the government, destabilize the government, then we use this word, an important word: subversion. Look at the antonyms: support, reinforcement, loyalty, compliance. Look at the example. The group was accused of engaging in acts of subversion aimed at overthrowing the government. As I said, it usually goes with toppling or overthrowing the government, subversion. Let us go to the editorial. So many words from today's editorial. Editorial stimulus, the reason for writing this editorial. Poll time, present time. Poll time, general elections are on. Based on that, poll time. Present time for the Delhi CM Kejriwal. On the continued incarceration, imprisonment of the Delhi Chief Minister. What is the main idea? Kejriwal's continuing imprisonment casts a shadow. Cast a shadow, throw a shadow, place a shadow, they all mean the same. Cast a shadow on election campaign. It has two different connotations. One thing, if the CM, the party leader, is in prison, obviously cannot go for campaigning, and that makes a negative impact on campaigning. Based on that, cast a shadow on the election campaign. The continued incarceration of Delhi Chief Minister Arvind Kejriwal in the midst of a general election highlights the hard political realities that seem to determine which leader gets prosecuted or arrested on allegations of corruption. This talks about the continuation of the incarceration of the Delhi CM Kejriwal shows or highlights the hard realities, means the facts, bitter facts. What are the hard political realities that seem to determine which leader gets prosecuted or arrested on allegations of corruption? In a way, it talks about there are certain things which are difficult to digest. Based on the rivalry, they may get arrested, and this continuation of the CM being in prison highlights something that is not positive but something that is negative. Over the decades, when you come across phrases like over the decades, over the years, you have to think of present perfect tense. It means what? From the past to the present. If you talk about an action that begins in the past and comes to the present, you have to use present perfect tense. Here we have present perfect. Over the decades, it has become clear that only an unfriendly regime usually pursues charges against key political rivals. When you look back, when you look at the history over the decades, it has become crystal clear that unfriendly regime, unfriendly government pursues, tries to attack the political rivals, charges against political rivals, and that the status of relations between the party that runs the government of the day and those facing such charges dictates the course of action for supposedly independent agencies. A lengthy sentence, but what it says, historically, over the decades, something has become clear. What has become clear? Only unfriendly regimes pursue charges against the rivals, political rivals. That is one thing. Another thing, the relation between the government, the center, the party in power, and the opposition or those who oppose the ruling party. The status of relations between party that runs the government, the party in power, and those facing such charges, those who are facing the charges, corruption, whatever, it takes a particular independent agency or supposed to be independent agency. The action of that particular agency may go in a particular direction. Dictates the course of action, means it directs the course of action of supposedly independent agencies. They are supposed to be independent, but when you say supposed independent, you are telling indirectly they are not independent. Supposedly independent agencies. That the number of leaders, here the moment you see the phrase the number, you have to recollect two rules. The number takes a singular verb, a number takes a plural verb. The number of leaders whose offences are forgotten as soon as they join the ruling party or become an ally is increasing. A sentence like this you may get in the exam because the subject, the verb, between you have a few clauses, then it is difficult to spot the error. What is the subject here? The number. After that, we have of leaders whose offences are forgotten as soon as they join the ruling party or become an ally. We have clauses, but the number is increasing. That is the point, main idea. The number is increasing. It talks about two situations. One situation, those who are facing the charges, the moment they join the ruling party, their offences are forgotten or they become the allies, the charges are dropped or the offences are forgotten. On the one hand. On the other hand, those who are opposing, for them the prison has been allotted. The jail time or prison time. While jail time is reserved for adversaries, means political rivals. And that the status that Mr. Kejriwal did not respond to multiple ED summonses. This is an important word. Why is it important? Summons looks like plural, but it is singular. What is the plural of summons? Summonses. This has been given in many exams. What is the allegation? What is the problem actually? Those who don't have the background, I'm sure you all have the background information. The backdrop is there is a liquor case. Based on the case, a lot of leaders have been arrested. And here, why recently the Delhi CM has been arrested? On what ground? The Enforcement Directorate has sent the notices many a time, more than 7 times, I suppose. Every time they sent a notice, he was to appear before them according to the protocol. But he never cared, he never responded to the summonses. Based on that, for everything there is a limit. Beyond the limit, they have to take action. And last time he did not respond and they arrested him. That Mr. Kejriwal did not respond to multiple ED summonses may be cited, may be quoted, may be given as a reason for his arrest, being arrested now rather than months ago. If someone questions why to arrest Kejriwal at this juncture when the general elections are on, the justification, we have been giving notices, he has never responded. Finally, since it went beyond the limit, at this juncture we had to arrest him. They may give that reason. However, this expectation that the accused should cooperate with the investigation agency is quite peculiar. Do remember whatever I say here, the stand taken by the editorial, not my personal opinion. Nothing is subjective here, everything is objective. Means what? Based on what the editorial says. Editorial says, generally, if you take an agency, investigation agency, they don't expect the accused to cooperate with them. It's human nature. They try to say no, 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 or deny whatever the accusation is. Based on that, the editorial says, for an agency to expect the accused to cooperate is something peculiar. Usually it doesn't happen. They don't cooperate. That is a problem. Agencies ought to be able to prosecute people without their statements. This is an important sentence. What the editorial again takes a stand, says there is one important helping verb. I've told many a time. Ought to has become outdated in Western countries. There are two helping verbs you have to know and their functions. What is the first one? Should. What is the second one? Ought to. Should and ought to, they have the same function. What is a function? To advise or suggest to someone. But Western countries ought to become outdated and Old English should informal, ought to formal. Now formal or informal, they started using should, they stopped using ought to. But exam point of view, you have to learn. Agencies ought to be able to prosecute people without their statements. It means agencies should prosecute based on evidence, not based on the statements. There should be some witness or evidence, only then they should prosecute the person, the one who is accused. It is known that, here it is in present tense, passive voice. We know that, imagine, we know that, it is known that, present tense passive voice, important pattern. It is known that Section 50 of the Prevention of Money Laundering Act has been weaponized. Present perfect passive voice. Weaponized here in this context, it means is being used as a weapon to attack the rivals, political rivals, has been weaponized by the Enforcement Directorate to record a statement that is admissible and then record the person's arrest. First record the statement that is admissible, then record the person's arrest. Whether non-appearance in response to a summons is a ground for arrest and denial of bail is a question that has arisen in this case. When you look at this case, why has he been arrested, the Delhi CM? Because he did not respond to the summonses given by the Enforcement Directorate. That is the question, whether it can be justified or not. The question arises whether non-appearance in response to a summons is a ground for arrest. Can it be a reason for arrest? That is a question. And denial of bail also, can it be justified? Is a question that has arisen in this case. Equally tenable. Tenable means what? Something that can be defended or justified. Equally tenable is a question whether arresting, serving chief ministers through central agencies and keeping them in prison throughout a multi-phase election does not amount to subversion of federalism and democracy. Some may say arresting the acting CMs at the time of general elections may amount to subversion of federalism and democracy. Some may say it does not amount to subversion of federalism and democracy. These are all arguments. It ends on that particular note, I suppose. Now let us go to mini mocks. You have to respond based on your listening skill, your presence of mind. I've spent almost 15 minutes on the analysis. All the 5 questions try to get right. First question: what is the primary focus of the editorial? Analysis of recent political developments in Delhi, critique of the incarceration of Arvind Kejriwal during an election, review of the Delhi excise policy case, examination of the Aam Aadmi Party's campaign strategies. Easy to answer. If one student responds, then I will tell what exactly the answer is. Busy Life says 1B. Exactly. It is all about criticizing incarceration of Arvind Kejriwal during an election. Timing is not appropriate. At the time of general elections, keeping the party leader, keeping the CM in prison, how far it is fair, that is a question. That is the bottom line. B is correct. Very good. Go to the next one. According to the editorial, what does the continued incarceration of Arvind Kejriwal signify? He is still in prison. Continued incarceration, continued imprisonment. What does it signify? What is the importance of that? What does it convey? A victory for the ruling party? A failure of the opposition's campaign? Selective prosecution of political adversaries. It talks about, it signifies selective prosecution, not everyone. Some sort of discrimination. Selective prosecution of political adversaries, political rivals. No one has responded. Please mention the question number 2. 2 is what? Selective, C. Very good. Who is that? Vijay Sagar. Perfect. Next one. What is one of the key concerns raised during the arrest of political leaders in the editorial? One of the key concerns raised regarding the arrest of political rivals or political leaders: the lack of evidence against the accused, the absence of approver statements, the potential misuse of laws like the Prevention of Money Laundering Act, the interference of foreign agencies. Nowhere mentioned. This is also easy to answer. It has been mentioned. All these are based on explicit information. 3C. The potential misuse or abuse of laws like the Prevention of Money Laundering Act. Very good. I appreciate that. Kanna Arts, public demands. Please mention the question number. What aspect of the arrest timing does the editorial question? The editorial questions the timing of the arrest. What aspect does it question? The failure to issue summonses by the ED? No, ED has issued. The approach of the Delhi Chief Minister, the lack of cooperation from the accused, the necessity of arresting a political leader during an election. Timing is everything. The editorial questions timing against the backdrop of general elections, whether it can be justified or not, arresting the CM of a state and the leader of a big political party, emerging political party. What is the answer? No, A is not the answer. Yes, Chaitanya got it right, and public demands also. D is the answer, and Vamshi, that's right. Others I appreciate. Let us go to the last question. What broader issue does the editorial raise regarding the arrest of serving chief ministers by central agencies? Broader issue raised by the editorial regarding the arrest of CMs by central agencies. Violation of international treaty is not relevant. Subversion of federalism and democracy, strengthening of federalism and democracy, enhancement of law and order. What is the answer? Subversion of federalism and democracy. Answer should be B. Very good. Kanna Arts, first one to respond. And Vishnu Vardhan Kashi also 5B, busy life, public demands. Wonderful. Let us go to questions based on grammar, exam topic, error, location. Read the first one and try to spot the error. The country has adequate laws But problems arise when these are not implemented in letter or spirit. This goes with a standard phrase. If you know that phrase, easy to answer. If you don't know that phrase, difficult to answer. If you rack your brains also, you may not get the answer. If one student responds, to save time, I will give the answer. No one has responded, one is not correct. The country has adequate laws, present perfect, present tense, possession, nothing wrong. But problems arise, nothing wrong. When do problems arise? When these are not implemented. These are not implemented. We don't implement something, something is not implemented. It is in present tense, passive voice. Nothing wrong here also. In letter or spirit is not correct. We have to say in letter and spirit. This is a standard expression. Not implemented in letter and spirit means the intention behind a particular law or right, the true intention should be implemented. Letter and spirit, a standard phrase. There's an error in the fourth part. Not easy. At the outset, I said the same thing. The management feels that the employees of the organization are non-product and do not want to work hard. This goes with word forms. One reading, you should be able to spot the error. The management feels something. What does it feel? That the employees of the organization are non-product and do not want to work hard. Please don't use a V1, V2, V3 in my presence. I don't follow that approach. Use words like past participle, present participle. Where is the error? Here we have an error in the third part. When we talk about employees, we use, very good, Kanna Arts. We use expressions like productive employee, non-productive employee. Here we cannot say non-product. We have to say non-productive. Productive, non-productive. Exactly. Let us go to the next question. This group of rural achievers is very different than the ones in the past. Group, collective noun of rural achievers, a phrase. Collective noun usually takes a singular verb. There is no problem over there. Where is the problem? This group of rural achievers is very different than the ones in the past. Second part. What is wrong with the second part? Nothing wrong with this. Nothing wrong with the second part also. There is an error. Very good. Kanna Arts. Third part, there is an error. What is it? The word different takes a preposition from. Different from. A lot of students have got it right. Good. Very different from the ones in the past. Based on prepositional combination. We have 5 phrasal verbs. 3 are easy, 2 are confusing. You got to be careful. Try to get all the 5 correct. Okay. Try on, try out, take off, put on, pop in. What you know, first you choose that one. When it comes to wearing clothes or accessories or footwear, we use 2 phrasal verbs, put on and take off. Put on your shoes, opposite, take off your shoes. Based on that, put on means what? To wear. C. And take off means what? To remove. A. First you get the easy ones. Put on, take off, opposite. Then pop in means to visit briefly. Someone has popped in means visited briefly. B. These 2 are a bit confusing. Try on, try out. Try on means what? Someone says, Sanjay says 2D. Try out, test something to see if you like it. Try out something. Yes, very good. D is the answer. Try on goes with try a piece of clothing to see if it fits. 1E, 2D, 3A, 4C, 5B. All the five correct, you should be happy. That's all for today. Thanks for being with me till the fag end of the session. Have a nice day. And we'll provide the PDF after the session. Join the Telegram group, access the PDF, work on important words and questions that will help in the long run. Thank you very much.